Happy Friday, everybody. I know it's been a long and arduous and emotional week for everyone. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end, but welcome to another edition of the Wine and Ad Tech podcast. I don't know. It's the number one podcast about wine and ad tech on LinkedIn. Today, we are going to talk about liquor with our old buddy, Drew. We got a ton of fan mail asking Drew to come back on the show, and he obliged. I'm going to read one to you now. Dear Mike, you and Drew were like two peas in a pod. That one pea pod you find in the bag that is rotten and you throw away. What an intro. Once again, signed, Mom. My mom continuing to send hate mail, which is fun for everyone involved. So, Drew, you are back. Tell us a little bit about why I've got you on talking about booze.
Well, again, I've been a bartender now for almost 13 years. I retired last year to become a stay-at-home dad. But I still drink enough where I think I have knowledge for the viewers here.
I love it. And there are literally sevens of them. Viewers, that is.
Yes, of course.
Anyway, so Drew, what are you drinking today?
This is not something I drank recently, but it is something I found another bottle of recently.
Oh, amazing.
The Ridge Paso Robles Zin from 2016. We had a bottle of that during the holidays this past year, I believe around Christmas. And it was one of the best wines that we had drank, my wife and I. And so we now buy up Ridge anytime we can find it. The 2016 Zin was really rich. Had a nice long finish, some hints of black cherry.
Love it.
It's super good. If you can find Ridge anywhere, I recommend picking up a bottle of that.
Yeah, and if you are a devout viewer of the show, which I know the sevens of you are, Jeremy and I both highlighted a bottle of Ridge we enjoyed last week. So we call that a callback in the biz.
In the biz.
And we are definitely in the biz. I am going to be drinking this Chateauneuf de Pape, or House of the Pope, for those of you who don't speak Spanish.
Yep.
They're always known too for doing a little zhuzh on the bottle here to keep that fun. This should be nice. I will report back on how this goes, but it again has been a long week, so it's time to bust out the big guns. And what better than a House of Pope to help with that? So really excited to open that tonight. We'll be doing some lamb chops and some grilled oysters.
That sounds delicious. Fun.
Yeah, I got some oysters delivered from Pelican Oysters. So I will also let everyone know how those go after I do them. All right. So Drew, tell us something interesting about a cocktail or cocktails or anything you want to talk about, really.
So now that we're here in summer, finally in the upper Midwest, it's been in the 80s and 90s. I think a nice summery cocktail is a good place to start. One of the most popular ones over the past few summers, and certainly in my house year-round, is an Aperol Spritz. Bottle of Aperol right here, as you can tell, well used. It is a nice bright red color. It is an Italian bitter liqueur that has kind of a orange hint to it, orange and herbal, touch of vanilla. It's really nice by itself. I'll drink it by itself. It's nice with just club soda. Or if you want to go the full Spritz route with the club soda, and you also add Prosecco for a wonderful patio drink in your backyard or on any of the patios that are slowly reopening around the country.
Yeah, and we are of the mind on this show that there is no such thing as a manly drink nor a girly drink. This is 2020. Guys, drinks are drinks. get yourself an Aperol Spritz.
Yeah,
I love
drinks are not gendered.
No. And so, Drew, I know that you live with an ad tech expert, and you probably have asked her this question numerous times, but do you have a question for me? Anything pertaining to the industry?
It's nice to hear another point of view on what Alyssa and I talk about before bed. And, you know, she has answered this question for me, but I'd love to hear your perspective. OTT, CTV are hot right now, much like Hansel, but they're also expensive. What does a good video campaign look like?
It's a great question. So OTT and CTV are the hottest things since Aperol Spritzes 5 minutes ago. And really it's because it's where eyeballs are shifting. All advertising boils down to showing a prospective customer your message and hoping to influence their future behavior. Whether that's a newspaper ad, a TV ad, a radio ad, a billboard ad, or any digital ad you could possibly think of. And so what better place to reach that prospective customer than on a screen they are viewing? OTT being the type of content they are viewing, content that is delivered without a cable subscription login, and CTV being the device they are watching it on a connected TV. So if you think about an advertisement, a 75-inch screen roughly 7 or 8 feet away from someone's face is a really good place to put an ad. What connected TV and OTT provide you are some in-depth metrics that perhaps linear TV isn't always able to provide, and also the ability to optimize in real time. Now, TV is catching up with some interesting ways to go about that, but essentially for a video campaign, you really are looking for completion rate. The idea being that the sale or the value proposition of connected TV is that you can't DVR it. Typically, people are watching and waiting for their content, so you don't get a lot of people getting up and going to the bathroom, going to the fridge. It is right before the content or sometimes right in the middle, and there's not as much clutter. The ad breaks are shorter, and people are very engaged with it. This is content that they've obviously sought out. So you want to look for a high completion rate, over 90% for connected TV, and really over 95% for connected TV. I think for OTT, you want to aim above 80% completion rate. OTT is a little more cost effective than connected TV, but it can be consumed on a mobile device, which isn't as great as your giant big screen. So I think making sure that you are reaching all devices, you are reaching all types of content, but keeping an eye on that completion rate versus the click-through rate is the key. Thank you, Drew, for that wonderful question.
Of course.
All right. We are on music or movie and drink pairing. What do you have for me this week, Drew?
So my favorite rap group just came out with a new album on Wednesday. It was supposed to be released today, but they had it out 2 days early. Run the Jewels came out with RTJ4, and it slaps. It is from front to back. It's good. And I don't really know what else to pair with that other than my favorite drink from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is Riot Juice. And it's, I think, a mix of grain alcohol and Windex. They don't give a recipe for it.
I love it. I actually did catch RTJ4 on a YouTube stream because my son was listening to Spotify, so I couldn't do it there. But it is absolutely fantastic. I concur with your messaging. RTJ4 slaps. I will be drinking the Tyrconnell, and you might know how to say this better than me, single malt Irish whiskey. 15 years.
I do not.
My father-in-law bought this for me as a birthday gift, and it is quite fantastic. And it will pair, he is a born and bred Chicagoan who vividly remembers the Bulls of the 90s, and specifically the first time they won, because the riots broke out and they smashed and looted his dry cleaner. But I will be drinking I will be drinking this Irish whiskey from my father-in-law and continuing to watch The Last Dance. I have been slowly viewing it because I just can't get enough of it. And I'm going to be so sad when I make it to the end that I am parceling it out. So I will be watching The Last Dance and having some of that Irish whiskey. What do you have on the food and booze pairing?
So this may be pandering a little bit to the host here, but I've really been enjoying Gochujang Korean hot sauce. Lately, I've been putting it on just about everything. It pairs best, I think, with a nice, clean, crisp Pilsner. It kind of is, the yin to the yang. And my favorite Pilsner, which I can't get in Minnesota, it's a real bummer. Can't get this in Chicago, and it's by where I'm from. It's from Downingtown. It's the classic Pilsner. It's a nice intro beer for someone who doesn't like craft beer and only wants, drink Miller Lite or Budweiser or whatever. It's kind of got similar flavors, just a little bit elevated. And a beer like that goes great with some spicy Korean barbecue or Korean wings or something like that.
I love it. I love it. I went a somewhat similar, but perhaps more delicate route. I, last night, drank this bottle of Chablis, which I believe is the softest wine you can possibly order. Just saying it out loud. Chablis is a bit soft, but it was wonderful. And I paired that with a shrimp stir fry. And so you're thinking, how could Chablis go with shrimp stir fry? I like to put a fair amount of ginger and cilantro in my stir fry, and it gives it a more like tropical fruity feel. And this had a nice, clean, minerally, but a little bit oaked finish at the end that just paired very nicely with it. So I had some Chablis and shrimp stir fry, which is, again, exactly what the French intended when they decided to make it. They were like, I can't wait for this guy to eat shrimp stir fry with it.
Right. The classic wine saying, if it grows together, it goes together, and all the, the shrimp that grows in France.
Yep. A lot of shrimp in France. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Typically we have given out gift cards to wine.com for people who have commented below. This time around, we will be making a donation. If you comment below, we will make a donation for anyone to a charity of your choice that specifically impacts racial equality in the United States, whether that is a Black Lives Matter movement or another charity that you think is helpful. Drew is up in Minneapolis, and I know it's been quite an emotional ride for you and your wife to be up there and see your hometown so poorly represented. So we are here standing with our brothers, saying, Black lives do matter, and we'd like to make a donation in your name. So if someone out there has a charity in particular that's close to the movement, please let us know.
Yeah,
Drew, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I would be happy to drop some in the comments as well. There are a number of local charities here in the Twin Cities that don't get as much coverage as a Black Lives Matter, like national charity, that can really help people here on the ground in Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Awesome. Appreciate that. So everybody keep an eye out. We'll be doing that. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your Fridays. We will see you again next Friday with another edition of LinkedIn's #1 wine and ad tech show, the Wine and Ad Tech Show.